Hello Summoners and welcome back to the GPL 2014 Summer Split. This is week number 1, day number 1, and we will be heading into match number 3. Lots of numbers for you to remember, but now, my name is Wolf, and of course, alongside me on the casting table will be Chris.
That's right, and for match number 3, it's the second half of the all-Taiwanese showdown. And it's going to be Machi Esports.
Machi Esports.
Yeah, I was about to say Matcha Esports. Okay, so
Thinking
Machi,
too much about green tea, are you?
Kind of, a little bit. Haven't seen him for a while, so it's going to be Machi Esports Club going up against AHQ. And we already saw Taipei Assassins going up against AHQ Fighters, and they were the ones to sort of assert the dominance back into the GPL after picking up a long fought but seemingly very nice victory.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, in that fight altogether, it was just, you know, very controlled from the Zubu Taipei Assassins.
Exactly.
And even though I kind of said earlier that fighters kind of got all their comfort champions, they were not able to, what's the word, kind of show how well they can perform on these champions. But overall, let's kind of move on to the next matchup of the day. It's going to be Machi Esports up against AHQ Esports Club, and once again, it's a veteran Taiwanese team who has constantly and consistently performed in the Garena Premier League versus a new blood Machi Esports. And what's your take on this new blood?
Yeah, and for Machi Esports, they are a very interesting team actually. And you know, previously in the Taiwanese promotional tournament, they were playing with this mid laner called Guru Cat. So Guru Cat has left the team. So they are now playing with a new.
They're playing with a new mid laner.
Yeah, they're playing with a new mid laner
who was originally their top laner.
Yeah, and now they do have a new top laner who is gonna sub in for them as well.
That's right.
I'm gonna say for certainty that their team dynamics is not gonna be as strong as what we saw in the Taiwanese promotional tournament. But overall as a team, they are sort of the dark horse from the Taiwanese region, because if you look at their records, in the first 2 opponents that they faced up against, in the 4 matches that they played, they lost the first 3. So, you know, ever since then they were kind of just looking a bit lost. But subsequently, in the next following 6 matches they won, they went on a 6-game winning streak, and they beat out the hot favorites Taipei Snipers out of the tournament, and they beat them out to qualify here in the Garena Premier League.
Today, it seems like you're kind of raking the Taipei Snipers through the fire.
No, okay, you know, it's something worth mentioning.
AHQ Fighters beat the Taipei Snipers.
Yeah, well it is a fact.
That's the whole reason why they're not here anymore.
Yeah, and I guess the whole reason why I'm kind of harping about it is also because of the fact that it's very surprising, you know, for this split, especially because in the winter season they were the team to fight against Taipei Assassins to vie for the championship position, and then in spring split as well they were doing very, very well, and they are actually, if I'm not wrong, they are the 3rd team in terms of circuit points on the standings as well.
That's
so
right.
You know, for them to not appear in this split is definitely somewhat of a surprise for me, and of course for the viewers, they get to see new talents in the forms of HQ Fighters and Machi Esports as well, and of course some more of the new teams that it's going to be playing today. War Gods is going to be playing today, and of course ISG Rebirth playing, I think tomorrow or on Friday.
They will be playing tomorrow, ISG Rebirth. But nevertheless, let's kind of focus and get our attention back into this game number 3 of the night. So Machi Esports up against AHQ Fighters, against AHQ Esports Club.
Yeah.
My bad. We kind of talked about the new blood. I will be expecting Jay Kane to show us how good a jungler he is, because he is a veteran in the Taiwanese region. Originally played for the YE Spiders in the top lane, I believe. Now moving on to the jungle, he really understands how his lanes kind of work and can perform well in the jungle. So I do expect him to kind of babysit some of the lanes and try to put on that jungle pressure.
Yep, and the interesting thing about him as well is that he is very capable of becoming a carry jungler, because I'm looking at some of the numbers that he produced in the promotional tournament. He played 1 game of Wukong, but he went 10-0-9 in that game. And in a separate game when he first played in Nocturne, he went 9-1-5. So he's entirely possible. You know, it's entirely possible for him to carry out the team on his caliber here as we go into picks and bans. First ban for Machi is going to be Twisted Fate, very targeted and directed at Westor.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Westdog is an exceptional Twisted Fate player. And no surprise here, Machi Esports going for that Twisted Fate ban. Now Yasuo on the side of AHQ Esports being banned out. Ender now their new mid laner. Don't really know what he actually plays in the mid lane. Additionally, Golem will kind of, what's the word here? Add in a new dimension to the Machi Esports kind of playstyle, being the new top laner. So Twisted Fate is a lot of mid lane centric bans tonight especially. In all these games, we've seen so many mid lane centric bans, so much so that, you know, champions such as Lulu has constantly gotten through. Jax even in the first game got through, and I wouldn't be surprised to see either of those two picks not kind of appear in the ban stages and then finding their ways into the pick phase of the entire game. KO is the last man on the side of Machi Esports Club. Let's see what AHQ decides to go for finally.
Might see the Kassadin ban out from AHQ Esports Club, but oh, it's going to be the Irelia instead. So Machi do have the option to go for the Kassadin if they want to. And just to remind our viewers, this is on the 4.8 patch. So the Kassadin number nerfs haven't really been in full effect just of yet. So Machi could go for that Kassadin first pick. If not, I think HQ might just grab that out for themselves, because Westlaw, one of his favorite champions is Kassadin. So let's see if that's going to happen.
Yeah, there we go. Jax actually being led through here.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Not too bad. I think this is actually very good here for Machi Esports. No real answer to the Jax now, especially now that Irelia has been kind of banned out. It's not easy to kind of deal with a late game Jax powerhouse. Wouldn't be surprised if they decide to log in. Actually, I'm surprised that you didn't talk about the fact that Machi is kind of named after the hip-hop, Taiwanese hip-hop group.
If you're as old as I am, and if you speak a bit of Mandarin and you listen to some of the Taiwanese pop groups back then you know, you might recognize Machi for being that hip-hop boy band.
If they win, will you sing a song for us?
I do not know any of their songs, and I do not sing hip-hop.
Okay.
I would love to, just for entertainment's sake, but I don't, so sorry. Sorry about that. And for AHQ Esports Club, just because of the fact that there was so many mid-lane centric bans for Machi Esports,
Lulu gets through as well.
Yeah, and they are left
predicted.
open with a whole bunch of options for themselves. And
As predicted.
yeah, so Lulu
Thresh,
might just go over to Westlaw over here, and Thresh should be going over to Green Tea, and we have seen that in the Winter Split and the Spring Split that he's an exceptional playmaker on that Thresh.
Yeah, that's right. So Green Tea on a comfort pick with that same colored champion as well, facing up against Machi Esports now. Let's see what they decide to pick in their second rotation of picks. Wouldn't be surprised with the Lucian pickup here by Machi, and J. Kane extremely comfortable in the Kha'Zix as well.
He has played a total of 2 games in the 10 games that he has played in the promotional tournament. And, you know, before we talk about this champions itself, I kind of want to talk about the fact that Machi has a very interesting pick and ban phase. Even in the promotional tournament, they will always come into the game with a very specific game plan. That means they don't like to ban across the board, or they don't like to go with the flavor of the month.
Well, we can see that they just banned out 3 mid lane champions, so that's one thing.
And so I think what their strategy in this game is to cripple out Westlaw as much as possible. But then again, Westlaw is a very you know, seasoned mid laner, so he could easily go with a lot of other mid laners. So, you know, Lulu is up for him. That might be him playing that in the mid lane, or Pride bringing that Lulu up in the top lane as well. But I would really love to see that Kassadin happen, because we have not seen that from him in a while, and I believe that Lulu and Kassadin has a very good synergy with each other as well. So let's see if that's going to be the decision for HQ Esports Club. So now, with Lucian taken away for Guarded Devil, it is one of his favorite picks as well. We might see him go with something like a Twitch, because this is Twitch and Lucian are the 2 most contested AD carries so far in the competitive scene. Or we could see Jinx. That was what I was going to mention, because that's kind of like his pocket pick when Lucian is taken away.
He's very comfortable in Jinx, understands positioning, that's number 1, and he understands how to use the range of Pow Pow and Fishbones effectively for lane harass and in those team fights, and that's one of the key factors. Wow, Naz decides to go for the Nocturne pick here. Wasn't actually expecting that, because it's not really a flavor of the month champion, but Naz is extremely comfortable on such champions. Goes for those global initiates in the form of either Pantheon and even Nocturne, and uses it to full effect. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the synergy between Naz and Westlaw when Nocturne decides to go in with the Paranoia. Westdoor can use the Wild Growth to knock multiple people out mid-flight whenever whenever Naz decides to jump in with the Paranoia.
Yep, and you know, Nocturne is currently in a position where you get the best of both worlds for the Rigorous Lantern, because the Rigorous Lantern has been changed that whenever you go for kills and assists, you will still get stacks on that to knock that into a Furrow Flare.
So I think the point here you're making is that Nocturne can farm extremely efficiently in the jungle because of his
That's right.
Umbra Blades, and has the ability to go in for this early level ganks using the Fear Tether on his E. So he can just, as well as the chase potential on the Dustbringer at the same time. Kassadin may
there we go.
You predicted it. They did not steal that away from HQ Esports. Instead, Ender decides to opt for a safer mid lane pick in the form of Ziggs, and they go for Morgana as the support, leaving the Kassadin open for Westdoor, in which he is extremely proficient in. So they ban out Twisted Fate, they ban out Fizz, and they ban out Kale, and they are able to give Westdoor the Kassadin pick as well. We will be going to game very shortly, but right before that, let's take a look at the lineups for both teams.
对决，
哈利路亚的 Q 黑牛的腰，究竟谁会获胜？
很有的妖力，但是被点燃了，要死的。
这边直接传送
过来，绿茶的这一个大绝并没有定到 BB， 可是杰哥表示哭哭，我的兰特。
够，所以在经济上面应该没有落后看不太多。
到了菲斯的血量偏低，硬踩硬 Q 带点燃，因为看到断掉预风后，直接涌掉了，
这巴龙的血量
来
从天而降的斩法，
重击成功。从丁特的手中把巴龙给抢走之后 ，NAZ 隔墙将闪现过墙的 BB 给击杀掉，击掉以后，阿奇也倒下。BB 的位置必须往后跳以后，这时候呢 ，BB 虽然是逃出去的，而且把 NAZ 给射倒，可是剩下的队友无一幸免于难啊！这边也说金人以后摆脱躺。
And we're back. Let's take a look at this 5-man stack here. On Summer's Rift, Machi Esports will be playing on the blue side, and HQ Esports Club is playing on the red side. They're going for some sneaky level 1 plays here. They don't have a Twitch on the team, but everyone's hiding in that bottom lane brush.
Yeah, and for Machi Esports, very interesting opening strategy in this level 1 stages, but AHQ are just kind of spread out for this, so I don't think there's going to be any level 1 catches here, unless Machi chooses to stick it out and then go for the late invade, but it might be the case here, and Guarded Devil might be actually caught out a little here, as that was just going to spot Ender and the rest of Machi out.
Not much happening in the early game so far, but wow, they're actually brute forcing their way into the jungle, so Guarded Devil and Green Tea will be forced to back off. They go for that delayed invade, get the blue buff aggro, chase away most members of the team, and actually was quite lucky that HQ Esports Club wasn't really in that area for a response. But Naz, knowing that this has happened, he can easily just transition to the opponent's blue buff and pick that one up for himself. So both junglers getting the double blue buff start, double buff start, sorry.
Yep, and this is going to be the first match of the night where we get the straight up 1v1s and the 2v2s lanes in the top lane and the bottom lane respectively. And what this tells me is that both teams, they respect each other, so they are kind of just using this 1v1s and the 2v2s to sniff out each other's strengths and weaknesses. And I think it makes a lot of sense given the fact that they are going up against a new top laner whom they might not have that much information about. So for Golem, he went back out to top lane to face off against Price, but he did throw his teleport in the process.
Yeah, let's take a look at where the teams are standing thus far. Machi Esports now, Golem actually being pushed down to his turret, great harass there by Prides in the early stages of the game. On the other hand though, D actually expend a little bit of mana there to try to shove the wave into the turret of Garnet Devil and Green Tea. So lanes being pushed here in the mid as well as the bottom by the Machi Esports side. But of course in the top lane there, Price just doing a good job controlling Golem overall.
Yeah, and I think that's something that it's overall a very good response to Jax as a pick. Because, you know, most players, most top laners, when they know that they are going up against Jax, if you can't out-brawl him, you just outrun him. And Lulu is just the perfect answer for that. You can just poke him down and use those Gutterlats to just harass him down so that he can't even come close to you. So I think Price is just going to be very happy with that result down, up in the top lane.
This is a very classic J. Kane kind of map movement. He will wait and just go in the long route, wait for the wave to go, and then watch as he goes in now. He always does this all the time, and there we don't see Golem actually going in for the range. Oh, a lot of damage coming out. If he managed to land that counter strike, Price will die for sure, or at least forced to burn the flash.
Yeah, and this is the team dynamics that we were talking about in the pre-show itself, because when you have a new player in the block, you have to sort of account for this little adaptation timing. And, you know, just like you mentioned, if Golem had responded slightly earlier, that would definitely have been first blood going over to Machi's favor. Yeah,
that's right. Westnor now playing the Kassadin like how he's supposed to play. Ender getting taken down extremely low. Uses the Satchel Charge or the Rubber Ducky to run away. The good thing about Westnor playing Kassadin, with the new Kassadin especially, I feel like Kassadin is very much an anti-mage kind of champion. Using that Null Spear, you can negate a lot of the poke damage that you receive in lane, and at the same time put down a lot of harass in return. And you know, this is what has happened. You always out-trade your lane opponent.
Yeah, but what I feel is also, Westnor is kind of outclassing Ender in the mid lane.
Oh, Green Tea takes a lot of damage. He's not going to go down just yet. But yes, as you said, Westnor is the veteran when it comes to mid lane champions.
Yep, and not only that, this is going to be Ender's first game in the mid lane as 6, you know. We have seen a couple of top laners when they transit into the mid lane, they usually have very good results for themselves because of the fact that it's still a solo lane, the lane is shorter, and you kind of can control the wave a little bit better. I always think back to the example of Kurt when he first transited into the mid lane when he was playing the top lane in the past, but he took a couple of weeks to adapt to that. So I think it's the same situation for Ender in this point of time. So let's see how that's going to affect the team dynamics overall. But so far, it is still Westnor putting on the pressure onto him.
Yeah, so far, HQ Esports Club getting those slight lane advantages in the top lane and in the mid lane. Just ever so slightly, and even the farm by Gunner Devil is just slightly outclassing his lane opponent. D here. So overall, HQ with that 200 gold lead early game. Westnor goes back, picks up the early Catalyst. That will give him additional regeneration every time he levels up. And with the Catalyst, the Crystalline Flask, sorry, that's just going to allow him to stay in lane even more. And will need to do significant amount of damage to constantly try and poke Westnor down. Level 6 already means that Westnor has the ability to Rift Walk and follow on those potential kills and even roam to many lanes.
What this also signals is that Westnor is going for the very classic Rod of Ages build and transit into those bursty AP assassins. But you know, we have seen a couple of Kassadin players now switching over to something more tanky or something that can stick to the opponents more, like the Frostborn Gauntlet or even Trinity Force as well. Something that we have seen over at the OGN qualifiers. But This time around, he's going for a more classic captain build. And you look at that, he's just, you know, using his fancy footwork to dodge out the skill shots that Ender has to put out.
J-Kane actually camping around the blue buff area as it respawns. Very good response here by HQ Esports Club. Getting Green Tea to use the vision ward and put it in a good position to spot out where J-Kane is. And now they will notice where J-Kane decides to go, goes in for the blue buff. This also means that Naz has the opportunity to counter jungle, and they will not even care about it. So, question is, will they pass it over to Ender? I don't know. It's not going to be the case. This time, Naz will just start his, you know, merry way on his own, or at least his opponent's blue buff, and counter jungle that as well. Naz is also level 6 now, which means he has the paranoia available for a turret dive or even a gank in the mid lane.
Yeah, I was about to say that it might be a very dangerous moment.
Oh, Ender now taking a whole bunch of damage. The Ignite is popped down onto him. Will we see the paranoia jump in? Yes, we do. The amount of burst damage from the Umbra Blade is not enough for the kill. Westor has to kind of saunter around here and try to get that final auto attack down onto Ender. But the flash over the wall and the walk away from Ender with the heal will allow him to survive all that burst damage coming in from both Naz and Westor.
Very close call, but Westor in the mid lane.
Oh, there we go. J-Kane actually going in onto Westor. Gets the flash over, but meets Naz at the same time. And there we go. Not much kills happening in the early game.
Whoa.
Westor has to rip walk away from Golem.
So far, Westor has been outclassing Machi at every turn of the game. Because you just look at it, baiting out the flash from Ender and from Golem as well. I think that's the reason why you don't really want to give Westor captain at all. And he was given the option, and he's doing extremely well on that champion. And for Ender down in the mid lane with that gank was a very close call. And what I spotted as well was a sort of a very awkward moment for J-Kane to be evolving his counter clutch then. But at the end of the day, he did put on the pressure against Westor, but didn't result in the kill. So far into the game, we are almost 10 minutes in. HQ with slight goal lead here, but overall still no kills being found.
That's right, so Naz now actually opts for the Spirit Stone build path on his jungling item, so he will be going for the Spirit of the Lizard Elder. And in addition to that, Price has just been doing an exceptional job of bullying Golem out of lane and putting damage down onto the turret.
Yep, that's exactly what's going on over here. And for Green Tea as well, you know, something that we kind of failed to mention is that he did not start with the GP5 item and rush for that Psych Stone very, very quickly, and then having that pink ward in his inventory. And so he has invested a lot more money into ward. And that's exactly what's giving HQ this little edge that they need to make the dangerous big gamble plays happen.
Paranoia will be up in a few seconds. This time though, Ender does not have his flash available for himself. I wouldn't be surprised to see Westor and Naz pull off that combo once more to try to get a kill in the mid lane against Ender.
Yeah, that could be the case, but Price is just bullying Golem left, right, and center, having that 20, close to 30 CS advantage up on him now, and just brute forcing down the top lane turret. So that's just a straight up 1v1, you know, Golem just pretty much just lost his lane there, and they need to do something very quickly about that. If not, Price is just going to scale very, very effectively in the team fights and then putting on all this protection that HQ is going to need.
Oh, J-Kane setting up for a gank against Garnet Devil and Green Tea. Will we see Dreamer now land the Dark Binding, Ender making his way down as well? It might be a 4-man gank. No, he's just going back to the mid lane. J-Kane still hovering around that area. D and Dreamer now playing a little bit too defensively might signal Green Tea and Garnet Devil, or at least, like, you know, their sixth sense might be tingling here. Knowing that JK is in the vicinity, JK is forced to back off, stay there for about half a minute or so, now goes back to his jungle pathing route.
Yeah, and you know, JK has been very patient so far in terms of waiting and just looking for opportunities for the ganks to happen. And you know, it's giving Naz
a lot of burst damage down onto Ender once more. Naz gets in this time. It's gonna be successful. First blood goes to Westor.
Yeah, man, it looks like the combination was just too much for Ender to take that time around. And a very successful gank that's going to put Westdorf forward. And you know, look at this rotation right here. They take Endler down and then they move their way down to bottom lane. Very tactical style response from AHQ Esports. Goes to show why they are the veteran players and why they are second place in the spring split of the Garena Premier League.
JK thinking of going in, but this time he gets caught by the hook. 3 members collapse onto this bug here, and it gets squashed. Golem with the teleport. We have Price joining in. Golem will go down. Westdorf following up with the next kill. Gets the double kill, and now D is in a whole bunch of trouble. We will see the 4 kills. Ender is the only one who survives because he actually respawns from that mid lane kill there. What a fantastic play from HQ Esports Club, but Machi there really responded horribly.
Yeah, are we going to see a replay of, yeah, we are going to see the replay of what happened down in the Dragon Pit. So it all started off with the TP, and JK wanted to go in for the steal, but instead gets locked out by Green Tea with the death sentence, tries to jump out as well. So Machi tries to go for the fight here, but just very nice juggling all across the board as we have some things that's going on over here, but...
I think they kind of broke the overlay there for a while.
Yeah, okay, maybe it's just HQ just performing overly well that even
the match has ended. Let's move on to the next one.
So, yeah, overall it was just AHQ juggling the aggression very, very well from Machi as well, and we did see Green Tea making the plays happen again, and that's the exact reason why you do not want to give Green Tea fresh. And I think so far, this 14 minutes in, it has been AHQ Esports Club kind of just, you know, guiding Machi by the hands there and saying, you know, this is the reason why you don't give us Kassadin, this is why you don't give us fresh as well, because we will just wreck you.
Yeah, I mean, in that one fight, Green Tea landed 2 superb death sentences. First one, I believe, to catch out J Kane, and second one to catch out D. And that was just really set up all the kills for HQ Esports Club. 5-0 ahead in kills. They got the Dragon, they got the first turret of the game, and now they are 5,000 gold ahead of their opponents 15 minutes into this game.
Yeah, and that's not the only concern for Machi Esports, because if you look all across the board, Pride's, Westdorf, as well as Garnet Devil, everyone has some sort of advantage over them. You know, Garnet Devil has 4 assists up his sleeve, finished up that Blastburster away already. Is going to convert that goal into more items up his sleeve. Westdorf is going big in this game, 3-0-2, having 20 CS lead over Ender as well, and now picking up the blue buff for himself. So he's just going to be that huge traditional Kassadin damage threat that Westdorf is pretty much famous for, and Prides as well, just bullying Golem left, right, center around in the lane, having a 30 CS advantage as well. So very worrisome sign for Machi Esports. Let's see how they are going to respond to what AHQ has in store for them.
It's interesting to see JK actually put so much focus on a bot lane of Machi Esports, D and Dreamer. We kind of talked about it before the broadcast began, that D and Dreamer aren't the strongest bot lane in the Taiwanese region. Oh, wow! Golem just gets instantly destroyed there by the follow-up from Naz. Price was actually chasing him down. Naz went in for the finishing move, took down Golem, and they're now taking down this tier 2 turret.
That's right, so AHQ laying on the aggression, stepping on the acceleration pedal all across the map. And you know, even for Ness as well, he didn't need to go for the Rigorous Lantern build. He just went straight for flat damage, and with that, just look at the amount of damage that they just chunk onto this turret. You know, it's just a 2-man hit squad attempt, and they bring the top lane inhibitor turret to about half health 16 minutes in. That goes to show how scary this AHQ hit squad is now.
Of the 3 times Naz used his paranoia, 2 have resulted in kills, and 1 has resulted, and the other one resulted in a summer spell being put. So, full use of that paranoia there by HP. Whoa, Garnet Devil now in a whole bunch of trouble, has to run away, flashes from the piercing light. Now Green Tea needs to get away. He actually does, because they were afraid of the follow-up damage from Garnet Devil. In addition to that, Westdorf goes in with the Rift Walk. Can he get additional kills from this one? The pink ward will spot him out. He's just going to auto-attack it and go back to his mid lane. But that fight there though, Green Tea and Garnet Devil really juggling a lot of the damage. Green Tea body blocking for Garnet Devil in general, and Garnet Devil just knowing when to hold on to his flash, use the heal in the right time as well, and of course launch out that super mega death rocket just for some annoyance.
I almost feel like the only reason why Machi didn't pursue onto that aggression onto Green Key is because of the fact that they did not have vision on where Ness is and of Westo as well, because he was only starting to make his way down onto the bottom lane. So because of that, they chose to play it safe, and yeah, so because of that, Garden Devil and Green Key made it out alive. The Green Devil combination make it out alive.
That's right. So Golem here not performing all too well against the veteran Prides. I think he really needs to kind of step up his game a little bit more. And like I said, it's surprising that Jay Kane really puts a lot of focus onto the bottom lane of Machi Esports, because they're actually quite a weak bottom lane in the Taiwanese region. I expected Jay Kane to actually maybe focus a little bit more onto the mid lane with Ender, seeing how kind of Westo has been snowballing this game ahead of himself. 3-0-2 on his Kassadin. 18 minutes in, already completed a lot of ages and has that needlessly large rod. Very scary.
I think the reason why he's focusing down to the bottom lane so much is because, yes, you may have pointed out the fact that Machi Esports does not necessarily have the strongest bottom lane duo, but it is a synergy that, you know, JK has worked with in the last couple of weeks and months. This time, you know, having Golem up in the top lane, he has not really worked with him before, so, and, you know, we did see that very first attempt at First Blood going horribly wrong for them as well. And of course now for Ender into the mid lane, there isn't a lot of kill pressure onto Westo, so I don't think that it's wrong for him to focus down in the bottom lane. It's just the fact that the execution isn't crisp. That is the reason why, you know, they haven't been able to find any sort of counter kills at all, and AHQ Esports Club are just punishing them for it.
That's right, Yomu's Ghost Blade as well being picked up here by Naz. 1-0-4. They are looking at contesting this next dragon here. Will Machi Esports respond in time though? They are a little bit too far away. It does seem like they're going to give AHQ Esports this free dragon pickup.
Yeah, that's right. So that's going to be one more global objective going to the sleeves of the AHQ Esports Club. And, you know, very funny that you mentioned that Ness is going for the Ghost Blade as well. That just signals to me that they are very, very confident of what Fight has in store for them, because he can just, you know, regain someone back out with the shield or even with the Wild Growth as well. So there's no immediate need for them to go with any form of health at all, as we did see Ender and he just clear out the wave with the calling, and the Mega Inferno Bomb as well. As now Golem goes heavy onto the top lane turret, so finally one global objective is going to go into Machi.
There we go, HQ Esports Club. Not responding to that top lane push, but they did get very good damage down onto the mid lane tier 2 turret. A little bit quiet for now after that crazy dragon fight in which went horribly wrong for Machi Esports. HQ Esports Club, they're a team that they don't look for fights, but whenever they do, they just clean up perfectly. They're just that kind of team. And they're showing it today against Machi Esports.
Yep, that's right, and we are seeing Ness just lying around at the side here. There's not going to be any vision to spot him out as well, so we might see, you know, him just use the paranoia to dive in on the back lines as well. And interesting pickup from Westo to go for the Zhonya's Hourglass. So he might be going in with the Void Walk into the Zhonya's bait combo so that the rest of his squad can clean house, or just for the fact that he still respects the team fight potential for Machi here to actually go for that defensive item.
Yeah, honestly, there's quite a bit of burst damage coming out from Machi Esports. They may not have all the items just yet, but D having picked up the Bloodthirster, building into the Trinity Force, and Golem already completing his bit of ranking. If Westo was to get caught in a counter-strike, you know, stun, D, Ender, JK, and Golem can put down quite a bit of burst damage to try to destroy Westo before he can, like, you know, cycle through his spell rotations multiple times.
Yep, and for Machi Esports now, they are down by 8,000 gold. What they really need to do is to stop bleeding out this objective, because every time AHQ makes a big move, they always take a global objective, and that is what is hurting Machi Esports right now. If you look at the team composition, they have the Ziggs, they have the Lucian, they can blow their ultimates to clear out the waves if they need to and buy some time for themselves. So they just need to sit back, relax, farm up, and not bleed the objectives. That's the most important point that they have to hang on to right now.
Pushing potential coming out from Garner Devil. Every time Prides is actually split pushing because of the teleport, it just means that HQ Esports Club lack a little bit of wave clear. Picking up the static shift from Garner Devil will help immensely in clearing out the waves and the pushing potential whenever they split 1-4. additionally, I like the pickup of Green Tea going with the Aegis of the Legion to kind of build towards that Locket of the Iron Solari. And watch this pick here by HQ Esports Club. You get the ward down. Whoa, there we go! Ender gets caught. He's gonna get melted by Westo. The follow up from JK now. He's gonna get away, gets the sight down onto him, and now JK is the next one to go down. Westo will follow up with the real fork, will get a slow onto D. One more auto attack will do it. Westo is now unstoppable. This opens up the Baron for HQ Esports Club.
Fantastic picking play from HQ Esports. They just waited very patiently, and Green Tea, being so comfortable on that Thresh, just set up the pick in that one. And 3 more kills going over to HQ's way as they pick out this Baron for themselves. They are looking fantastic in this game. 10,000 goal advantage, and with the Baron as well, that's going to propel it to about 11,000. So Machi Esports in a bit of a slump now. I don't know what they can do to try to come back from this one. Not even sure if stalling is even a strategy for them, because there's just so much raw power on the side of HQ that they can't even consider options of tower diving.
I don't know, a slump is a really nice word for you to use, Chris, because it does seem like this is gonna snowball out of control. HQ's like an avalanche, 9-0 now, 12,000 gold, 23 minutes in this game, having at least a whole core item up every single member of Machi Esports. This is just spiraling out of control. I don't, like you said, I really don't know what Machi Esports can do. If they start to a late game, they have to deal with a late game Lulu, a late game Kassadin, and a late game Jinx. And they don't have that mid game power spike that they really are looking for, because that time is over for them already.
Yeah, it's looking pretty disastrous for HQ Esports Club. And something that I want to point out as well for HQ Esports is that, you know, if you think back into the spring split, the execution was never this perfect. But I think ever since then they have been training hard and they have been polishing up their strategies, and of course the fact as well is that they have been given some of their favorite picks, some of their more comfortable picks. That's why they have been executing this very, very perfectly.
Oh, there we go, the double slow coming. Ender just takes a whole bunch of front loader burst damage. Super Mega Death Rocket does not get a kill. Westo jumps in, and there we get the Nas execute onto Dreamer. One more kill onto Golem now. They dive the turret. Mega Inferno Bomb will not land onto anyone. They want to go in onto D. D has to flash away from this one. Baron buff is still ticking on HQ Esports Club. They are going to get an inhibitor after the turret now, and they're going to probably back away from this one.
Yeah, and this is what we're talking about. There's just way too much raw power from the side of HQ Esports Club. They are so fearless right now. They just go in for the tower dive. No fear at all, with Price just protecting them with the wild growth and the shields as well.
They're just going to eat up another turret now and just keep rotating. Probably eat up the jungle at the same time.
Yeah, so, you know, HQ Esports Club playing this game perfectly. Should be looking to close out the game relatively soon. So for Machi Esports, I'm not too sure what's the mindset coming into this one. You know, they are the new players in the Garden Premier League, the new kids on the block technically. And in the very first game that they are playing, they just get faced off with the biggest veteran over at the Taiwanese scene.
Biggest veterans with no roster change at all.
Yeah, and
HQ really looks like the strongest team coming into this split. Just because of the fact that, number one, they're GPL veterans, and they have, their synergy is all there, 100% synergy.
Exactly, they are the only team from the spring split that has returned back with 0 roster changes. Even for the champions, Taipei Assassins, they did swap out Dinter for wins here. And you know, that's exactly it. HQ Esports Club, you know, with all this team synergy that they have built up and this experience that they have, are just, you know, sort of walking over Machi Esports and, you know, kind of showing them the ropes as well.
Yeah, it's really good to have your sister team play with your biggest rivals in Group A. And fighters can really try to test their mettle against Azubu Taipei Assassins and then relay that information back to HQ Esports Club. And they're from the same family anyway, so they're just going to have that much more research, that much more details against TPA, who is supposedly favorites to win Group A and biggest rivals coming into this split.
Yeah, I would love to find out the kind of scrim results that fighters have against HQ Esports Club, because HQ Esports Club just looks so dominating to go up against. The color is going to come through for D here, but that's not going to do.
Oh, the flank coming in onto the side. There we go.
Oh, wow.
That synergy that I was talking about during the pick and ban phase. Naz and Pride with the Lulu Nocturne synergy, and now we will see Golem being called out. We get the death sentence. Golem, you're going to go down. Triple kill for Westlaw. Are you going to follow up with the Penta? I don't think that he has the time or even the position to do that, to kill the D and Dreamer. We will see them just go all the way into the Nexus turret. Dreamer's just gonna get eliminated. Soul Shackle, second proc, will not happen. Takes out the second Nexus turret, going for the Nexus. Game number 3 goes to HQ Esports Club.
What a dominating victory from the veterans AHQ Esports Club. And you know, if you think in terms of kills and deaths, that was a perfect game for AHQ Esports. They did drop one turret.
All KDA undefined for HQ Esports Club now, because you can't divide a number by 0.
Yeah, so you know, HQ Esports Club coming back into the GPL with a resounding statement just to take out